Coming up on today's show, it's an ultimate feast. I'm cooking chicken, pork, shrimp, beef, even a couple vegetarian dishes. It's recipes you'll want to share with your family and friends. Are you ready to cook? New Day Cleveland starts right now. Welcome to New Day Cleveland. We're doing a little meal planning today. That's right, this entire hour is about your dinner. Recipes to please every palate. We begin with a little seafood. How about that? We could qualify as an appetizer or maybe even a small plate. So who's hungry for shrimp tostadas? The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take these little tortillas that I bought at the store, and you can put these in the pantry. These don't have to go in the refrigerator. And we're gonna toast them up a little bit. And I'm gonna drop them in some hot olive oil, about a quarter cup of olive oil in here, and we're just gonna crisp them up a little bit. You can buy tostada shells if you can find them. They're a little crisp and they're hard, and when you bite them, they sort of explode. Most of the stuff on the tostada jumps off the tostada and onto the floor, into your lap, onto the table, wherever. So you gotta eat it sort of tricky. So I make my tortillas a little rubbery, so they got a little bit of crisp, but a little bit of bend so they can hold what you're putting on them. So I've got a flour tortilla in here, which I like second best, and I got a corn tortilla in here, which I like the best. It's got the most flavor and it's got the best body, and you cook it just about 30 seconds on the side, 40 seconds on the side. Oh, look how fast the flour one goes together, right? Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make some shrimp, and that's gonna be super simple. I'm gonna move this pan over here, maybe move this one over here because that's the hot burner. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little olive oil. I bought some 16 to 20 size shrimp. They're deveined, they're peeled, they're ready to go. Put a little butter in there. Oh yeah, there it's going. Here's the shrimp. I got about a half pound. I'm gonna put some nice dry rub on here. This is the one Emerald makes, and you can go online and see how to make it. It's really easy to do. Go to Gallucci's in the back, and they've got all the spices there for you. Okay, that's starting to go, so we'll put this in here. There we go. It's not gonna take long to cook that. And you know what else I'm gonna do? Instead of cutting up garlic and all that kind of stuff, I watched the show. Oh, I forgot, I'm on the show. When the blonde Italian is here, she always brings this stuff that I think is great. It's garlic, parsley, a little bit of tomato. We're gonna put that in there too. Okay, so we got this. I'm gonna drop it in here just because I got a little extra oil and such. We're gonna take some of these, and we're gonna cut them up. Just make it in some nice chunky little pieces. So we're gonna put a little bit of guacamole on here, and we're gonna spread it around because the guacamole is gonna act like our glue. And if you don't wanna use guacamole, you know what's really good for this is refried beans, because they're so sticky. And so whatever you heat up the refried beans and you put them on the bottom like this, then everything sticks to the refried beans. And then we're gonna go around and put a little pico de gallo on there. Now it's time for a little shrimp. From here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a little bit of this on. That's right, chopped up lettuce or your favorite slaw, a bit of queso fresco, a little fresh cilantro. You'll find that recipe along with all the other recipes featured on today's show on fox8.com. Just click on New Day Cleveland. Okay, coming up next, a hearty meal, chicken and noodles. The butter's in the pot, we're melting some butter. We're gonna throw some olive oil in there in just a minute. We got a little sizzle going on here. You hear that? How good does that sound, huh? Okay, so the butter's melting, right, folks? So what are we gonna do with the butter? We're making chicken and noodles. I think it's gonna be fantastic. I'm hoping it is. Natalie's in the wings, waiting, fingers crossed. I'm gonna put a couple teaspoons, or tablespoons rather, of olive oil in here also. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna get the heat to go a little more roaring. What we're gonna do, folks, is we're gonna make this a little faster than you really make it. So we're gonna run up the heat a little bit, and we're gonna throw some mushrooms in there. So we've got about 8 ounces of mushrooms, and I usually cut them sort of thick because when you taste a really thin mushroom, you really can't taste the mushroom. It's just like something happening in there and you don't get a taste. So we put some mushrooms in there. And when you put the mushrooms in, about 8 ounces, you're gonna cook them for 4 or 5 minutes. So we got that going 4 or 5 minutes. The thing about this is you can put anything you want in it. It's like chicken pot pie without the crust. So I think that's good. We got some good noodles for it too. So say those are in there 4 minutes or so. I salt them a little bit. Let's put a little pepper on them. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna put some onions in here. About 1/3 of a cup, 1/2 of a cup. 1 big carrot, 1 big celery, 1 little celery, 1 big celery, doesn't matter. All those things, those little tiny things don't matter when you make a dish like this. This is like something Grandma used to throw together in her sleep, right? Okay, so we got that cooking a little bit. I got some noodles. Let me tell you about the noodles. The noodles are these noodles right here. You find them in the freezer compartment at the grocery store, and they're a little different. They're thick, they're short, and they're pretty hearty. And when Natalie saw these today, she went, "Oh my God, these are the best ones." So you can find these. I've never used them before. I always use egg noodles. And I've got some in here. I'm going to pull them out right now because I think they're done. I'm going to let them sit in there. I'll turn it this way. Maybe you could even see them. How's that for a shot there, Chuck? Okay, so we got this going. Now I'm going to throw in some thyme. It's time for the thyme. And we've got a heaping tablespoon of thyme. So that's going to give it a lot of flavor. It's probably starting to smell okay around here, right? Okay, so we talked about chicken, and we do it a couple different ways. Like you can get a couple chicken breasts, put them in some water, a little bit of salt, a little seasoning, and just poach them and then take them out and chop them up. Or you can do it the lazy way. Go get one of those rotisserie chickens, take the skin off of it, pull the bones out of it, and just sort of shred it, pull it apart, and you get those nice little bites. Rather than those little cubes like you might see something coming out of a can or something like that. So we're not coming out of a can today. Okay, so I got that going. So now what we're gonna do, maybe a little more salt. What do you think about that idea, guys? Maybe a little more pepper. I mean, this is one of those impromptu dishes. I don't think you can mess it up. So we've got 3 tablespoons of flour here, and we're gonna put that in there. And what's the flour gonna do? It's gonna make a roux. Almost sounds like a poet, right? Do roux. That's what we're doing right now. We're doing roux. So we're cooking that flour. We're gonna cook the flour just about a minute. Not too shabby, huh? See, it's cooking up a little bit. Because if you don't cook it, it's going to taste like raw flour, and that's not good. You probably don't know what raw flour tastes like, but if you eat it the first time, you go like, "What's that taste?" It's raw flour. Okay, so we got that in there. So now what do? We're going to put half a cup of white wine in there. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Gotta leave some for the chef. Okay, so we're going to stir that around a little bit. Chuck, can you see that a little bit? I just want you to see it's getting a little gooey. See how it's getting a little gooey, folks? So you're going to cook it like that for about a minute. There, so you really see it getting gooey now. How gooey is that? Gooey good? Okay, now we bring on the broth. We've got 2 cups of chicken broth. We're going to stir that in. What's going to happen as we bring it back up to a boil, it's going to thicken up. It's going to make a sauce. Believe it or not, that's going to thicken up and make a nice sauce for us. And when that cooks up and makes a nice little thick sauce, we're going to add a half a cup of heavy cream. Now, if you don't like heavy cream, you can use half and half. If you don't want to do that, maybe use a little milk. But the heavy cream is where it's at if you really want to make it good. So if I put that in right now, it wouldn't do me much good. I want it to boil here first and then put it in. But as we go to break, what I'm going to do is I'm going to displace this pot. I'm going to turn off that burner. I'm going to move this into the starring roll. And this is what it's going to look like before you add your noodles. So we got a little bubbly there. Let me tilt that up for the camera. You see that there? So what we're going to do, there's no noodles in there. There's just that nice shredded chicken. The chicken goes in last. So after you get that cream in there and the stick and everything, you put in that chicken. I got about 3.5 cups of chicken right here. You put it in there and this is what it's going to look like. So when we come back, I'm going to show you what it looks like with the noodles and what it looks like when Natalie takes a fork and starts attacking it.
Road trips, recipes, and much more. Go to fox8.com and click on the New Day Cleveland tab.
There go the noodles.
Okay, we got some noodles in there. I hope we didn't put too many. I'll take a look at that first and see what we got.
In my opinion, there can never be enough noodles because it's more carbs and that's wonderful, so I'm all in. This looks so good.
So those are 8-ounce bags. And I put about 3/4 of it in here. So you can adjust the recipe. And you know what? If this gets too thick and you want to thin it up a little bit, take a little bit of that pasta water. And the pasta water will mellow out that sauce and just Yeah.
You know what? It's perfect the way you explained it before. It reminds me of a chicken pot pie without the crust. It really does.
Okay, so what do we got for a scoop around here? I know I've got one. I know I came prepared. Here it is.
Okay, all right, there we go. It's what I needed. Thank you so much for this. This is so exciting.
Think we should put a little parsley on it?
Sure, why not? As long as it doesn't get stuck in the teeth for the next interview.
Well, that's the only reason I did it. Are you kidding me? Are you crazy?
And here we go.
Yeah, let me know how that is.
This is delicious. A hearty dish, great dish, especially this. And I love how you said it. A lot of the stuff you might just have sitting in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
You can whip it together very quickly, even tonight.
Yeah, it's a good idea too. And you know what even works, believe it or not? I mean, I'm saying it out loud. Some of that chicken you buy in a can, like you see it at Costco, right here.
I knew I was going to do that. See, thank you. He at least, wait, there, I see it. That's my mirror.
I take care of my Natalie, that's right. Yeah, so you can use
Thank you
different
for looking out for me. I wouldn't have found that one.
You can use egg noodles, or you can use regular dry ones, or you can use these. And these are in the freezer cabinet. And like you said, you should buy a couple of these. Just put them away, and you can just put them with chicken bouillon or something like that. I like that better than broth bouillon that I use a lot. That is really good stuff. And how about that? This is
delicious.
Is it chickeny enough?
It's perfect.
Want the recipe? Well, just head to fox8.com and click on New Day Cleveland. It's time to spice things up a little bit with chili lime beef. Today we're cooking with 7-Up, believe it or not. That's right. I think it's a pretty cool recipe. You can do it with beef or pork. We're doing it with beef today. It's sort of a chili lime pot roast in a slow cooker kind of thing. And I tell you, it's easy to do, and it's a real crowd pleaser. And you can do a lot of different things to it, like if you put up a big taco bar or something like that. So let's put this thing together and show you how it happens. In the crock pot, I have got a pot roast or a chuck roast. Take a look at that. It's about 2.5, almost 3 pounds. You can get up to 4 pounds in there. That's a pretty big one. And what we're going to do is we're going to start seasoning this thing. So before the 7-Up goes, it's all about the seasoning. So let's start off with a little bit of chili powder. And when I season this thing, I'm going to make sure I get it on it. I want it on the beef. Or if you use pork, you can do pork too. You can adjust these seasonings, put more pepper in it, more whatever you want. But I've got a tablespoon of nice chili powder that I got at Penzeys. I took some care to put it on there because I want it all on there. And I'm going to put some cumin. And I tell you, cumin is the secret to chili and all kinds of great south of the border dishes. It's a big, full, deep flavor. I really think it's a great one. Got that on there. We're going to put a tablespoon, or a teaspoon rather, of dry oregano. And for this kind of cooking, I really like dry herbs better because they sort of reconstitute themselves in the juices, and I think you get a better flavor than the fresh ones. Although we will be using some fresh herbs in here. And how about a little salt and pepper? You always need that. So what I did do, folks, is I did season the other side with just a little salt and pepper because Emerald taught me years ago, you don't want no one-sided cooking. That's right, you want seasoning on both sides. So see how all that goes on there really nice? Okay, so that looks pretty good to me. And now it's time to put on a little bit of garlic. We've got 4 cloves of garlic. So the hardest thing about making this dish is just cutting up all the stuff. And I did it this morning in about 20 minutes, so it's easy to do. Now we're going to put a poblano pepper in there. So when you go to the market, make sure it says poblano pepper, not just green pepper. Poblano pepper's got just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of heat, but it's got really big, nice flavor. And if you want more heat than I'm showing you today, just put a little can of those roasted peppers in there, or the jalapenos. They come all cut up already, or just get some fresh ones and chop one of those up in there. Okay, so we got that in there. And how about some onion? I remember there's an old chef that was on TV from New Orleans, old dude, man, he was good too. He'd always say onion. So we cut that up, and we cut this onion up and down, that way you get some nice pieces in there when it's finished. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. I'm looking around making sure we got everything going on. And now we're gonna put about 1/3 cup of fresh chopped cilantro. So Chuck, can you see that in there pretty good? Does that look pretty good? Let me see. There you go. Get a nice look at that. Smells pretty good too. It hasn't even cooked yet. So the lime goes in when it's finished. So we got the cilantro in there. I got this excellent towel today. This towel is excellent because you can use it. Nobody can tell it's been used. How about that, huh? Nice colors. This came from a viewer. Thank you very much. Okay, so now it's time for the 7-Up. So how much 7-Up are we gonna put in here? We wanna put just enough 7-Up to get up the sides of the beef, not across it, because I don't wanna wash all my seasonings off and just make a seasoned soup in there. I want that seasoning to cook in there a little bit. So we've opened one up here, and we're gonna go right down the side. We're gonna cook this for 8 hours on low. So I put this in last night about midnight. And when I woke up this morning, the house smelled pretty doggone good. Okay, we get that all in there like that. So I say 2 cans in the recipe, but if it starts to go over, you're not going to use all of the second can. I'm just going to use a little bit of it. So that's how it goes. Okay, so that one's there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out of the way. I'm going to return with the one that is finished. Hot stuff coming your way. Hot stuff. Okay, and this is what it's going to look like, folks. Take a look at that. So it's sort of a soupy thing, right? And what we're going to do now is we're going to put a little bit of lime in it. I've got a couple limes here. So just cut them in half. Give them a little twist. So I'm going to put one whole lime in that way. And then we're going to get out some tools. And we're going to start shredding a little bit. So we got a little, there's 2 limes done. Put them in the recycle can, kids. Go over here, and now we're gonna go to fork in here. Tear it up a little bit.
Put a fork in it.
Yep. Put a fork in it and make it look good. Here's what some of the pieces look like. So you see a nice tender piece. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna shred this up a little bit. I made some rice with a little cilantro in it. How about that? And we're gonna pull this out and we're gonna make a little plate for Natalie and see if it passes the Natalie Herbeck test. Most important to me. See you right after the break. Okay, how about a little cilantro rice? You like that?
Thank you for making the rice. I know we had the debate yesterday, and
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's
we
right.
decided on rice, and you
Well,
did.
so what I did was I brought tortilla chips too. There's a little rice for you.
Sometimes I will do that. If I have some on the side, you just pick up a little chip too, scoop up some of the contents,
I think
and
it's
eat
a good.
it that way.
I think that's a good idea. Let's get ready for that. We just put some out there anyway. What do you think?
It smells so good already, and that's just the rice.
It's a party. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is get some of this beef out of here. Let's see, where's my? Whew, that was a close call.
If we wouldn't have had those to get the beef out, we could scoop with a fork.
Well, if they
It'd be
hit,
all right.
if that would have hit the ground, the folks that call me all the time would have had something else to talk about, right? They would have been very excited.
Look at how that just pulls right apart. So how long again did you cook it for?
Good question. We cooked it for 8 hours on low, and if it went 10 hours, I don't think it would hurt anybody's feelings.
I don't think so either. It seems like the tender the better with this.
Okay, so I'm thinking like that looks pretty good. So now I'm thinking maybe we get just a little bit of lime squeeze.
I'll take it.
Let me get this lime. This lime was right side up. You don't want no upside down lime juice on your meat. Okay.
Squirt it right in your eye.
Yeah, look out. Okay, now what am I looking for?
Look at me, I'm already.
Oh, here's what I want.
I've had this in my hand since we came back, I think.
Yeah, I think you're ready to go. How about a little avocado?
Mr. Perfect Avocado Picker. Still can't get over that. I've never scooped one out better than I did when you gave me one to do.
You did such a beautiful.
Was that last week? A couple weeks ago.
You did a beautiful job with that, I thought.
All right.
Okay, and we could put taco sauce on this if we wanted. I was thinking maybe how about a little bit of cheese?
I'll take the cheese.
A little bit of cheese. And how about a touch of sour cream?
I'll take that too.
This is sour cream.
It's
What
a
I did was
party.
I blended a little bit of whipped cream in it to make it nice and smooth.
Oh. See, it's always those little tidbits that he throws out.
Yeah, we'll see if you like it. We'll see if the tidbits
Okay.
are working today.
All right, here we go. I think they're working.
I'll tell you, it smells really good. The house, I woke up this morning, put it in, like I said, 11 o'clock at night.
That's what
woke
I
up this
mean.
morning, whoo, whoo, whoo. I thought it was going to be okay.
That meat is unbelievable.
This next recipe mixes fresh veggies, a little spice, and a seafood favorite. We've got 3 scallops here. I'm going to put a little salt on it, and I'm going to put a little pepper on it, like that. Then we're going to go over to a very hot skillet, and we're going to take a little ghee. And ghee is butter, but it's butter that's had the milk solids taken out of it. So that means you can put it in here, and it won't burn immediately. So we're gonna put a little olive oil to help our temperatures here. And we're gonna put a little bit of this ghee in there for flavor, like butter. Come off of there, baby, there you go. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our scallops, and we're gonna set them in there, salt, pepper side down. There you go. And we're only gonna cook those about a minute. While we get those going, we're gonna cut up some zucchini into spaghetti squash. So we're gonna cut off the edges, the zucchini. We're gonna put them in the machine like this. Crank it through, and there you go. We're making zucchini spaghetti. We're gonna go over and turn over our scallops. So these cook like in 2.5 under 3 minutes. So you see how they're a little crusty and they start to crack on the edges. That's exactly what you want them to do. They're done, they look pretty good. So you got a nice crispy on the outside, and the inside is gonna be almost translucent, tender. Okay, we got the pan going like that, right? So now we're gonna put in a little sesame oil. We're gonna put in a little more olive oil. Pan smoking hot. And we're gonna put our zucchini noodles in. 3 or 4 minutes. If you go beyond that, you start to mush it up. You don't wanna mush it up. Plate your zucchini noodles, top with those beautiful scallops, and there you have it. Quick, easy, and a very healthy, tasty dish. Still to come, a recipe inspired by vacation.
Have a suggestion for a segment or story? Email us at newday@fox8.com.
Time now for a garden fresh meal, something a little lighter but packed with flavor. We're gonna make something with eggplant, tomatoes, we've got some garlic, we've got some pine nuts, and tomato sauce. How about that? And this is a great dish you can put together for a whole bunch of people. You can make it a little bit ahead of time and get things going like that. So here's what we got. We got a little eggplant over here, and that's gonna be the outside of, or the inside, the outside of our ramekin, the inside of this ramekin, okay? So let's straighten that out and just show you what I mean. We're gonna take the eggplant, we're gonna chop the top off like that. And we're gonna take the bottom off just so we can keep it flat. And we're gonna peel it. We're gonna peel the eggplant, get rid of the outside. Now eggplant, if you don't make it a lot, and I know a lot of people don't, is really a dynamite item because it takes on the flavors of anything you put near it. So we're gonna cut off all these sides like this. It's also a little watery, so what you wanna do is you wanna get some of the water out of it. So that's part of what we're doing right now. We take the outside off, and then what we do is we cut some slices like this off of it. Like that, and like that. And then what you do a whole bunch of those, and you take a paper towel, and you put it on the paper towel, like this. You put them all in there, so say you have like 6 of them or whatever, and then you put another paper towel on top, and then what you do is you put something heavy on it, like a book or something. What happens is it takes all the water out of it. And really what you should do before you do that even is put a little bit of salt on it. That helps the water come out. So we got a little salt on it, gives it a little bit of flavor. Put it like that and you leave it like that for an hour, hour and a half. So we've already done that a little bit for us, ourselves. And we've got over here some eggplant cooking. And let's go take a look at it right here. It's over here. I got one side cooking already. I put some olive oil on it. Sounds pretty good, right? Now we're gonna make some tomatoes. And what we're gonna do with the tomatoes is we're gonna chop the tomato in half, and then you take a little spoon or your finger, and you can just knock out that little stuff in the middle. So imagine you have a whole tray of these. So you got a whole tray of these set up. You got the oven at 250, and it's gonna be on 250 for 2 hours. And before you put them in the oven, what you do is you take a little bit of garlic and you put it on each one, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and then you put them on a dish to get them cooking, and here's what they look like when you bring them out. So here you go, and they're ready for our stuffing. So okay, what are we gonna put inside? We'll put the tomatoes, some mozzarella cheese, and some fresh basil. What you do is you take your eggplant that's been cooking over here, and you line your ramekin with it. Then what you do is you get a nice big spoon, and you load it up. We're gonna put this in the oven just for 15 minutes, 350 degrees. And when it comes out, it looks something like this. Top it off with your favorite tomato sauce, some pine nuts and Parmesan cheese, and there you have it, a beautiful eggplant entree or side dish. Remember to visit fox8.com and click on New Day Cleveland. And that's where you'll find all the recipes from today's show. Up next, a dish inspired by a trip to Florida. We're gonna make this wonderful shrimp dish that I enjoyed at a place called the Havana Cafe in the Everglades in Florida, just south of Naples, and it was some pretty good stuff. I'm gonna try to recreate it a little bit, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. So we're gonna start off with a medium-sized onion and get that to start to melt up for us here a little bit. And over here, I've got some of the sauce that Carlos makes. Take a look at this, folks. There's the sauce. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some shrimp in it now. So the shrimp is ready when Natalie is ready to try some. So we got some shrimp in there. Get that in there and get that cooking. Don't want to overcook the shrimp. Now these shrimp are shell on. They're shell on and they're slit in the back so they take out the vein. And so they're peel and eat, but they've already been cleaned. So they're going to be a little challenging to the manicure, but just that's tough luck when you eat great food. Okay, so this seems to be cooking up pretty good. Let's keep that going there. So here's what we do. We got this onion in here, right? So after the onion softens up a little bit, what are we gonna put in there? We're gonna put some garlic in there. So put a little garlic in there. So this Havana Cafe is in the middle of the Everglades. And it looks like a nothing spot, but it is so much, man. This Carlos guy came from Havana. He and his family, they escaped from Cuba on the tail end of a hurricane, and they ended up in Mexico for a little while and then ended up in the Everglades. And boy, they make some wonderful, fantastic food. We're gonna put in a little oregano. We're gonna put in a little cumin, a little salt. We're gonna put in a little butter, believe it or not, a little pepper. And here, I'm gonna put a little touch of olives in there. So this is like an olive tapenade. This is gonna give it a little extra flavor. I'm gonna turn over the shrimp, because you don't want any one-sided cooked shrimp, right? No. Let's do it these ones over here. Okay, we're gonna turn them over. Ooh, look at that. That's one thing about putting them in the shell. They not only cook better and keep the moisture in them, there's a flavor that comes from the shell. Like even when I cook these when there's no reason to have the shell, I take the shells off and I cook the shells in the sauce, take the shells out, and then throw them away. That's how good the sauce is for the shells. So there we go. So we've got that halfway going. So now, you know, Natalie's wearing a pretty dress today. She's got her manicure, and I was afraid about the peel and eat, so I also got some Argentinian shrimp that are pre-peeled over here. They're the ones that taste like lobster. So these big ones are about halfway cooked, so I think it's okay to go ahead and toss these on top of that. So there, we got a lot of shrimp. Is that okay with the crew? Oh yeah. Gonna go over here, look at our softened up onions. So after you cook this one over here, you can throw it in a blender to make it smoother. And the real secret to his sauce is his hot sauce. Let me show you that in a minute here. I just want to make sure we need sauce on our shrimp. Doggone it. Let's throw some more stuff in here. We're going to put about 8 ounces, which is not much, tomato sauce in here. A little tomato sauce in here. There we go, a little tomato sauce. I think we're good. And we're going to put in a little wine. It's white wine, but this Spanish wine is Sauvignon Blanc, but it's not very blanc, it's a little orange. So I said, this might be good for cooking. So we're going to put half a cup of that in there. I did taste it, and I know it's good. Okay, that sauce is going to cook down for 20 minutes or so. We're going to go over here, turn over our shrimp again. Going to turn over the new ones. How's it smelling here, guys?
Amazing.
There you go. I have to admit, sometimes the folks bring seafood in, like when they bring scallops in. When they leave, you just think they're still here, if you catch my drift. Isn't that right? Okay, so there, good. Not too much sauce, just enough sauce. Okay, we got this going pretty good. Now here's the key. He's got some hot sauce. There's the picture right there. This hot sauce seems to be the secret to just about everything. What he does is he gets to the end and he puts that sauce in there. And I'm talking about 2 tablespoons. Okay, hey, so we're gonna go to break, we're gonna pull this out, and we're gonna try it and see how it is when we come back. Welcome back to New Day Cleveland. Okay, so in the middle of this, he puts a bowl of rice.
Plops it right on.
Yeah, we're gonna try and do this. There we go.
That is quite possibly
There you go. Okay.
the biggest bowl I've had yet from you. Although I know I'm not eating from that one.
We got a little dish over here too. Okay, so now we've got some shrimp over here. And we're gonna put these all around here. Sounds like a dinner bell, right?
I know. You're calling me in for the food.
Hey, so anyway, I cut up some parsley, and you know what? I'm not gonna put it on there. I don't care. I don't care what it looks like. It's gonna be just that way, man. Okay, so here, we're gonna put a little rice on for you.
I won't get any in my
What do you
teeth
think?
then.
Oh,
Yes.
you know what? I don't have a fork. There's a plastic fork in there.
Oh, that's fine. Don't you
But
worry.
I got a little rice in here for you. Just for fun. I don't know you're gonna want
And
it.
are you giving me the Argentinian shrimp or the peel and eat?
Well, we're gonna do both.
Okay.
I think you should try the Argentinian first.
So that it's quick and accessible to me.
Yeah, because there's a couple Argentinians, but the big ones, man, this is where the game is played.
Just beautiful. I am testing everything in me to not get it on my dress when I do the peel part.
Well, what I like about your dress today is it has strings on the end, and you just can't help but get it in there, so it's gonna be delicious.
This is the worst dress to wear when you're demoing food, but that's okay.
We'll just put some on the rice. There you
Okay.
go. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Whoa! Almost
Here
got
we
it on
go.
me.
Carlos.
Thank God I didn't slime you, right?
It's okay. Life happens, right?
So anyway, you make this. I tell you, his sauce here is the secret. What do you think?
That is so good.
2 more recipes to go. Up next, it's a crowd favorite, panko crusted pork loin. Hey, we're making these veal cutlets, so it's going to take another 5 or 6 minutes to finish them up. So I'm going to show you the back end, and then we'll show you the front end. Sounds sort of strange, but I think you're going to like it either way you see it, right? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We got a little sauce here. We got some pork loins. I'm going to put a little tomato sauce on each one. Not a whole lot, just a big spoon. These are going back in the oven, about 430 degrees, 425 degrees. If it's a little cooler, you leave them a little longer. That's all there is to it. I'm going to put a little bit of basil on these too. I just think it'd be sort of nice. We're doing things backwards today. What do you think of that? It's pretty exciting, huh? I'm going to put a little cheese on the top. So I got this idea. I was going through some magazines. I saw some pictures. I saw some people doing some stuff with chicken, which I'm getting a little tired of chicken, right? And I thought pork loin, which is such an inexpensive meat at the store. I mean, it's just a fantastic deal. I'll show you what I mean in just a second. We're going to make these. These are a little thicker than schnitzel. How's that look, everybody? Okay?
Fabulous.
Fabulous. Okay, goes back in the hot oven. Looks like I got it at 440. I'm pushing it a little bit because we only have so much time here, you know. Okay, so here's what I did. I got this pork loin. Check this out. This pork loin was this long. I mean, it was 3 times longer than that, and it was 17 bucks. I mean, which is an unbelievable price. So I thought, what are we going to do with this? Because if you just cut it like pork chops, you know, pork chops are tough sometimes. These guys, they laugh at me because I can't get my gloves on all the time. Look at the gloves they got me. I can put my foot in there. Wouldn't be so good for cooking. Okay, oh, I still can't put them on. Must be some kind of brain thing. So here's what you do, folks. You get it 1 inch. I did this with a whole bunch of them, as you can see. Okay, so we got that. And then what you do with that is you put it in a nice big plastic bag like this or between saran wrap. But this is really the way to do it. I'm gonna get this out of the way. Then you take a hammer, a mallet, a meat thing, and you go like this. See how it gets thin? If you don't think the fat is nice and tender on it, you can always cut it out. Is that enough?
I think so.
Yield. Yield, you pork chop. And you didn't make a whole bunch of mess. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out. I'm going to put a little salt and pepper on it. A little salt. We're going to throw it in some flour over here. A little pepper. I've got some seasonings in the other stuff. So we got this in the flour. Then we got an egg over here, right? So what we're going to do is put 1/4 cup of milk in there. You can use cream if you want. Frank's hot sauce.
Yes.
I put a little bit of this in there, like a couple tablespoons. Whoa, I'm shaking like a dog on a thunderstorm. There we go. We got that going. Okay, so we're going to mix that up. I could have pre-mixed it, but I thought it might be nice just to see how easy it is to do, right? Over here, I've got a cup of panko, about a half teaspoon of salt, half teaspoon of pepper, half teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and a quarter cup of Parmesan or Romano cheese. Romano cheese is a good one to use here. You mix them up. I would mix it a little bit more. Sometimes you mix it in a bag and it just really works out nice. You get that out of there. Okay, so here's how you do it. Get this going in here. Did I just splash? I just splashed. What are you going to do? Okay, then you go over here. How am I doing, John?
Great.
Okay, so far so good, right? Nobody's been injured. You take more time with it when you're at home. There's one. And we'll just whip them out now. Okay, here we go. So the nice thing about this is we're going to put them in the oven, but you're going to get sort of a fried taste and a crispy taste out of it, because I got a little trick I'm going to show you. I think 2's enough. You get the idea, right? Do I have to do 3, Chuck? Chuck is shaking his head over here. Okay.
He wants some.
Oh, I'll look up for that time cue and I'll decide then. Here comes the time cue. We're going to know in a second. Yep, they're giving me time. You know why? Because they want me to cook these for them. What, I dummy or something, huh? I know what's going on. Yeah, so this pork loin thing. Now, if you want something that's even melt in your mouth tender, you get those little tiny pork loins. But they're going to be, they won't be as big, but you can pound them as thin. And boy, do those turn out nice too. But this is a great way to go, because you can cut off the ends, saves from roast, you could freeze them. Like I said, I paid $17 for that giant piece. I think it was less, it's like $2 a pound or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, you gotta love that. So I made enough of this stuff for 4, and you can see it's pretty close, it's pretty right on the money. Okay, now here's the trick. This is what it's all about. Take off the gloves. When I take off the gloves, you know it means trouble. Okay, here we go. We got vegetable spray. You see the vegetable spray here? I sprayed the rack first, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray the chops. What do you think of that crazy idea? Okay, I'm going to turn them over. Why? Because there's 2 sides to every chop. They're like stories. 2 sides. There we go. We're going to do this. So 425 to 450, I compromise. I put it in at 440. You put them in there, and they're going to cook for about 12 minutes. And after 12 minutes, we treat them like we treated the ones when we started this segment, by putting a little sauce on them and a little cheese. So before we go to break, I get a chance to clean up here. Let's take a look and see what's shaken in the oven, how it looks. Oh, too bad. They look pretty good. So this is what it's going to look like. And what you do is, when you get towards the end, you dump some broccoli on the plate too. Like that. So it looks real nice. We're going to put it back in there. I'll see you on the other side of the break. Natalie will join me. It's mange time.
Every day is a new day. Follow New Day Cleveland on Facebook and Instagram.
This looks incredible. It does remind you of a chicken parmesan, but the secret surprise is what's in the breading.
Okay, the one thing I didn't do that I want you guys to do at home, if you can, when I put the cheese on and the sauce on it, go ahead and put the broccoli on the pan then. Then the broccoli will cook up the same speed and it'll all come out the same.
Okay.
I miss putting the broccoli in there, but I just like it because it looks so nice.
Well, it looks beautiful, you're right. Pork chops, I remember growing up, my mom always would say, like, they just tend to be hard to cook the right way. She would always nail it, in my opinion, but she always was nervous to do it. Do you find that with this is like a foolproof recipe here?
This works pretty good because you pounded it too. In the olden days, everyone wanted to cook that pork till it was like 1,000 degrees, like 165 degrees or something like that. Now pork is raised in a way that's so good and it's healthy. You can cook it to 145 and you end up with a tender pork chop.
Interesting.
So that's why it happens. So people overcook pork now because of the way it used to be.
And do you think it's something, when you cut that, I'm like, man, that's cut really thick. But then I realize how you pound it down. Do you think maybe sometimes people cut it too thin too when they're?
Well, if you cut it too thick. I mean, you cook it too long, it's not going to be tender. If you cook it too thin and overcook it, overcooking it's the big problem. So when you make schnitzel,
I love
John
that
Yusko and I
breading
were
on
talking
that.
about that. When you make schnitzel, you pound it way thinner. So you saw how much I pound it. This one I made a little thicker because I was going to put it in the oven. Schnitzel, you put it in fat on a pan. And how does it taste? It's good?
It's delicious.
Oh, good. Yeah, so
That's incredible. The breading too. That's a great recipe that you put together for that.
yeah, the breading thing with panko breadcrumbs is really important. And if you use regular breadcrumbs instead, it's not going to get as brown, won't be the same. Panko will give you the nice crunch. And the real secret is spraying the vegetable spray on it
I'm
because
getting that
it gives you a
crunch.
little bit of fat in there to give you a little bit of crunch, and it's vegetable oil, so it's pretty good stuff.
I didn't even get to the cheese part yet. How dare I not get to the cheese and the sauce part?
You know what? I think that really makes a big difference because you say pork can be dry. Well, you have a little sauce with it, and this sauce is sort of built in with the cheese.
That is crazy
So
good.
it's an easy thing. You can make a couple platters of this. I mean, if you get one that big, you can make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. You could probably make 12 of them, 12 or 14 of them.
It's not your grandmother's pork chops, folks, let me tell you.
From pork loin to pasta, we're wrapping up today's show with a quick and easy pasta dish starring broccoli. We've got a whole bunch of stuff going on here. We got some pasta, some penne pasta that goes in for 12 minutes, so I put that in just a few minutes ago. And I've also got some hot oil in here. I've got 1 cup of olive oil. So it sounds like a lot of olive oil, but that's going to be the sauce in this. And we've got about, I'd say 6 cups of beautiful broccoli here. The way we're going to flavor the oil today is we're going to put in a little bit of hot pepper flakes. So these hot pepper flakes are going to season our oil. So we'll put those in right now. Oh, good. They're sizzling a little bit. Cook that red pepper flakes in there just 30 seconds or maybe a minute. What we're going to do, we're going to get a little heat in there. So that's about 1/4 teaspoon to 1/2 teaspoon. If you want it hotter, 1/2 teaspoon's good. Go a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. So do what you want to do. Okay, now we're going to take our our broccoli, and we're going to put it in here. 6 cups, which is just about 2 regular heads. And you cut it up into bite-sized pieces. Now these could be a little bit bigger than bite-sized, but this is what I'm thinking they'll be when they shrink down a little bit and get a little softer. Okay, so we got that going. Okay, so that's going to cook about 4 minutes. Check the watch, check the pasta. So what you want to do with this dish is you want to start the pasta a couple minutes before you start this because we're trying to get it all to arrive at the same time. The broccoli arrived, the pasta arrived, and we're going to mix it all together with a little Parmesan cheese. And look at all this, I got 8 cloves of garlic. How good does that look? 8 cloves of garlic. I slice them real thin. I can give them just another little chop. Also, we're going to finish this with Parmesan Reggiano. Okay, we're going to put a little parsley in at the end too. So we're talking about a couple tablespoons of parsley. I feel a buzzing on my wrist. The timer is done. We're going to turn off the pasta. See if we can lift this out without being burnt to death. The other thing I want you to do, folks, is I want you to save about a cup of the water, a cup of the pasta water, because you might need that to make the sauce a little more moist, because sometimes the pasta, it'll just be a little too dry. So you use the pasta water, it's got starch in it, and it thickens it up a little bit. So now, this is the part I think is going to get everyone sort of excited in the studio. We're going to put 8 cloves of garlic in there. Sounds like a lot, right? It is a lot. So we're going to cook that for a minute. And we got this pasta going. So what we're going to do is we're going to take half of our Parmesan. We have a cup. We're going to put it in now like that. Just give it a good little toss. How about a little Parmesan cheese and a little parsley to top it off? And there you go, that officially ends our morning feast. So just head to fox8.com to find all of today's recipes. Just click on New Day Cleveland. I'm David Moss, and on behalf of Natalie Herbeck, we'll see you on the next New Day Cleveland.
Delicious. And here we go. It's not your grandmother's pork chops, folks, let me tell you. Thank you so much for this. I'm so happy right now.
It's good, huh?
I cannot wait to get back into that.